Good morning, what's up everybody? It's Stefan here from Mod2Fame, and we are back with our second ever Tech Review Tuesday. Today we're at Auto Couture Motoring because DME is about to tune the Porsche Panamera Turbo. Tuning is one of those things that it's very elusive exactly what's happening and what's going on and how different parameters affect what. Today we're gonna cover that in this video, so get ready, man. Get your popcorn and hit that like button right now and subscribe if you're not already. Come on, let's go inside and check it out. Alright guys, so when tuning the vehicle, some vehicles are easier than others. Some cars you can plug right into the OBD2 port, and by plugging into the OBD2 port, you can rewrite the ECU. This is Mo from DME, and he's gonna correct me when I'm wrong. I need you to scream it out and say, "No idiot, this is how it is." So I'm gonna talk, you got it. And until I'm wrong, you let me know. The Porsche happens to be one of those vehicles that you have to fully remove the ECU. Now Mo, when you fully remove the ECU, what are you doing?
Just going to take the ECU out of the car, and then we put it onto the bench. We plug up some wires into it, and then we read it. Once we read it, we make some changes in the file and then write it back.
What does the bench mean?
So there's a couple different ways to tune an ECU if you want to call on a bench. Bench we call a method of not having to open the ECU. Boot we call having to open the ECU. And then OBD is plugging into the...
So there are three different ways you can tune the ECU.
Correct.
And this car, we're doing bench.
Correct.
Awesome.
Correct.
All right, sounds good. So in the Panameras, the ECU is like located down in there somewhere. So you got to remove a bunch of stuff to get to the ECU to take it out. Usually, like in American cars, it's like front and center, very easy. Like for an example, the Challenger Hellcat, the ECU is right under the shroud right here. So you could actually just take it out. Speaking of that, that's another vehicle that requires a different process. The Challenger Hellcats, the Charger Hellcats, the Trackhawks, the ECUs are locked from the factory. So you have to be able to unlock the computer. Some cars you cannot write on top of. What it was is companies got smart to what we were doing. When you want to get a car warranty, then they got to try to trace it back if it was tuned or not, which we'll get into in a second in a little bit more detail. So not only are there three different ways you can tune a car, there's also parameters where each ECU is different, whether it's locked or whether it's unlocked. These cars are considered unlocked ECUs, right?
What we consider an unlocked is having the ability to tune it through the OBD.
Got it. Okay.
You know
so if it's unlocked, you'll be able to plug in any OBD2 and it'll tune.
There's different terminologies between different tuners, so there's not like an exact science. But I mean, what I call unlocked ECU is one that I can do right from the OBD.
Got it.
Then there's instances that, let's say if it's a locked ECU, you have to pull the DME out, unlock it, put it back in, and then you can OBD.
Got it. Which is what happens with the Mopars. The Mopars, right, you gotta put you gotta get an ECU unlocked, right? And then you can put it back in and tune through the OBD2.
So like the 991.2s, up until about a month ago, were like that. You have to take them out to unlock them, put them back in, then you can OBD.
So what changed a month ago?
The tool company figured out how to do it straight through the OBD.
Got it.
And things change. It's like a moving thing, you know?
Bing, bing, bing. There goes the ECU, guys. This guy right here, that's the computer that we're going to be taking out today. Alright guys, that's a wrap. All back together. We'll button everything up and then we'll go out for some testing a little bit later in the evening under some clouds of darkness, not in the middle of the day. So one of the best parts about getting the tune done is remember that I had went catless and I got a check engine light. So I love seeing no lights on my dash. Very important. All right, man, so I'm chilling here with your boy Mo from DME, and we came where we could talk a little bit more quiet because I have a lot of questions as it relates to tuning versus chip boxes. Why is it important? Why the difference? So for an example, you know, we just took off this Piggyback off of my car.
Right.
The car was quick.
Yep.
But why was it so inconsistent, and why did I have those like surges and stuff reducing the drivability?
Well, just like with any piggyback, a piggyback is just faking the ECU. So, for example, you're plugging that box into a couple of wires underneath the hood. And what it's doing is, let's say if the car is running stock 16 pounds of boost.
Okay.
The box will fake the computer and say it's only running 12.
To give that additional.
And then the car will automatically, because it's got the self-adapting features built into these ECUs, will automatically increase the boost, let's say another 4 pounds, another 2 pounds, whatever it's set for.
Got it.
Now, the newer cars are very smart in the way that a piggyback will work. If you did that on like an older car, it would never work. Because the ECU is not smart enough to say, oh, let me give it more boost, and then along the way it adjusts the AFRs based on that boost. So that's why the piggybacks work so well. But the problem, like you're saying, is the inconsistency.
The inconsistency. Because it worked for power.
It works.
When it worked.
Even like a JB4 works.
No, when it worked.
It works.
It works.
100%.
But when it doesn't.
It doesn't.
Like,
right.
what's happening that it's not
So you're getting one run that's really fast,
yes.
one run that's really slow.
Yes.
Well, it's all because the computer can only adjust so much. You know what I'm saying? IATs come into play too. If the heat starts getting built up a lot, it's going to start pulling back.
Got it.
So if the boost is going, let's say, higher than it's supposed to be going, over boosting, the car's going to smart. It's going to pull back. It's going to pull back timing. It's going to watch IATs. Octane has a lot to do with it. So the piggyback isn't smart enough to control all that. All it's doing is manipulating the boost.
Got it.
See, that's why they're so inconsistent.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So how is it different doing what we're doing today, which is a full ECU
So a
tune?
full ECU
What
tune.
is it? What is an ECU tune?
So an ECU tune is pretty much what we do is we take the computer out of the car or OBD, whatever method we tune it. It's all the same. Mm-hmm. But whatever the method is for that car is the one we got to use.
Yeah.
We pull the ECU out, for instance, on your car, we read the stock file. We take the stock file, we open it up in like WinOLS, and we basically set up a new file, and we see what the boost parameters are set to stock, increase them on the new file. We see what the AFRs are stock. In most cases, the car is running leaner in the stock fashion, and we have to richen it up a little bit.
To be safe.
Because we're adding boost.
Right.
And timing.
Right.
So we have to basically manipulate the boost, the AFRs, the torque requests. There's a whole bunch of tables in there.
Hold on, what is a torque request?
So basically, the torque request is how much torque the car is producing. And all that is in the ECU. And you have to manipulate that in order for the ECU tune to work properly. It's not just boost and AFR and some of the other parameters that are normal that everybody knows. There's more to it than that.
Got it. I mean, that makes a lot of sense when you think about it in that sense, that a piggyback is solely for the purposes of just tricking your computer.
Boost.
But it's still trying to run on the stock parameters.
Correct.
So in that case, is a piggyback more unsafe?
You know, I don't know if it's more unsafe. We have a lot of piggybacks, and like in a lot of instances, I still run a piggyback on some of our bigger build F10s. And the piggyback, and not the one like you have, but like a JV4. Everyone talks a lot of like bad shit about JV4, but in essence, it's a good working tool for what it is if you know how to use it. If you put that into the hands of someone that's not knowledgeable on how to change those parameters, it could become unsafe very quickly.
Got it. So you mentioned that the JB4 not like what I have.
Right.
So what is the difference? Mine was a piggyback. It plugged into two areas. It did boost and it did mass airflow. It connected to those two sensors.
Correct. So a JB4 has a lot more interfaces than just that. So you got the T-map on a JB4, you have wastegate, and you also have fuel.
Really?
Yeah. On top of that, I don't know. Did you have an app or something for yours?
No.
Yours was pretty much a piggyback that they set all the parameters.
They set all the parameters
in the
and
box,
it was locked.
and you can't change it.
Right.
A JB4 gives you an iPhone app. You can actually, manipulate how much boost you want. You can manipulate. You can add a little fuel.
Okay.
So there's more control in a JB4 than it is on a preset
So tell me
box
then,
like
what would be the benefit of going past the JB4 and going to a full ECU tune with DME?
So pretty much like on the example again, like we're really specialized in the F10 M5s, the S63 2U motors. These cars are, you got to flash them every time, obviously, that you want to make changes.
Right.
The beauty of the JB4 is we create what we call a backend flash, which let's say the stock boost on an M5 is 16 psi. The JB4, let's say we're running just the JB4. The JB4 has to take the boost from 16 all the way to whatever you want. Let's say 27, which is really high.
Damn.
Yeah. What the back-end flash does, not only it removes the speed limiter, which the JB4 doesn't, it removes the check engine light for the catless downpipes, which the JB4 doesn't.
Huge.
And what we do is we add a couple pounds of boost on the base so the JB4 doesn't have to work as hard and trick the ECU as much.
Got it.
So let's say the stock boost is 16, we'll raise it to like 22. Then, when you add better fuel, you can just pull your iPhone out and add more boost on a click. And it's done. Instead of having to flash the ECU every time.
So when you say your big builds, you're talking about the cars that's running race gas and meth and all that.
Correct.
So when
Turbos.
you have those upgraded turbos, when you have those cars, you run both.
Yeah, so a lot of people don't understand. On these big builds, everyone just buys a generic meth kit. AEM, whatever, snow performance, whatever.
Right.
There's no monitoring
Of how much you're getting.
even if you're getting. There's no boost safety. There's no safeties put in place on an independent meth kit. So my big concern always is when I speak to people, what kit should I use? I prefer the JB4 burger kit. Why? Because I can see on the log when meth is flowing. I can base boost off of meth flowing.
Of course.
So basically, there's a map 8 on a JB4. It says, all right, if I see meth, I will give you this much, whatever you set it to.
Right.
If I don't see meth, I won't give you anything.
Smart.
So that's why
It's all safety.
It's all safety. On a standalone meth kit, you can't do any of that. Yes, they're cheaper, but there's no way to log it. And God forbid, I ECU tune the car on an independent meth kit. If that meth kit doesn't flow, you know what's going to happen.
You have to.
Kaboom. That's it. Kaboom. Especially on those M5s.
Man, this is a lot of information. If I could reduce it down to a more simple structure for people who maybe they're not looking to do a big build.
Right.
They're looking to make a decision. They want to tune their car. Talk to me a little bit about warranty and tuning.
Okay, so warranty is always a gray area. Depending on the car brand, warranties are different.
Right.
For example, on a Mercedes, we could tune the ECU, and then let's say something happens, we can put the stock file back on it, and 99% of the time, the dealer, nobody knows anything was touched. Just because of the system they have in place,
The type of system they use.
at service level, just can't detect such a thing. The way they can detect things is if you take the car there with catless downpipes and there's no check engine light.
Right.
Well, all right. Well, then someone messed with the ECU.
Right.
That's how they know the car's tuned.
Right.
You take the car there with catless downpipes, which isn't a great idea anyway.
Right.
But some dealers, tolerate it.
They're friendly.
And there's a check engine light. At least they know. All right, he has catless downpipes, and he's got a check engine light for catless downpipes.
Makes sense.
It's cool. All right, we're good with it. But if they don't see that light, if they don't see the light on, then they know the car's tuned. It's just it's common sense.
Okay.
Now, then we have like BMW. BMW, forget it. Like you have a JB4, a Flash. It don't matter what it is. They have something called fast data. It's pretty much like a black box on an airplane.
And it's in the car.
It's in the car. It's in the ECU.
Oh,
Service level people really can't look at that data. But when they call BMW NA
to submit a request.
to submit a request, that data gets offloaded to them. And when they go through it, they can see you boosted 25, they can see your AFRs or whatever, 12.5, they can see that you hit 180 miles an hour when the speed limiter is 155. All that information shows. So even with the JB4, they can still see that data. It don't matter. So every brand is a little different. McLaren, same thing. As long as you take the car their stock, they have a hard time seeing it. But they're becoming more and more smart and they're figuring things out. So
With the warranty, you know what I tell people? If you're worried about warranty,
Don't tune your car.
leave the car stock.
Leave the car stock.
That's it. If you don't want no problems, that's it. And I straight tell people that because you just never know. It's not that the tune is going to blow the car up, but you're pushing the motor past what it was designed for from the factory. Not saying that's not safe, but telling you that's going to escalate.
They have set it up for max efficiency.
Correct.
And you are pushing it past that max efficiency.
It's going to escalate the wear, escalate how quickly things go bad. So bad things could happen. I mean, it's just the nature of the beast.
Yo, man, that's really good information. So in simple terms, guys, when you're looking to compare and you're saying, okay, cool, I got this new car, it has turbos. More than likely, guys, if your car is not forced induced, tuning is not going to make the biggest difference.
Like NA, correct.
Like, because an NA car, you could tune it, and you're going to, what do you tune for an NA car?
Let's say a C63, W204.
Yeah, what do you tune for that?
Just all your tuning is pretty much timing.
Right.
And you pick up 30 tops.
You're going to pick up 30 wheel horsepower, which is a lot.
On that car, sure it is. But compared to like a supercharged
or a turbo car.
Or a turbo, forget it. You're talking like 100 plus.
Correct. For an example, the car that we're tuning right now, 970 Porsche Panamera Turbo, comes with 500 horsepower stock. If I didn't do anything else, how much horsepower should I see gain? Let's use it to the wheel number.
At least 60 to 70.
60 to 70 wheel horsepower. Now, if my car was a GTS, which is just an NA, same motor, NA.
Oh, God, it would be
20.
20. Yeah.
Yeah. So
if you're lucky, you know.
There you go. There you go. Now my car obviously has, which we are tuning for, additional parameters. I don't have cats.
Right.
I have an IPD plenum.
Correct.
My air filter flows a little. Drop-in filters. That stuff all makes a difference. And you tune for it.
Correct.
Okay. What do you change if a car doesn't have cats? What are you changing in the tune?
The misconception that like you have to tune for an intake, you have to tune for a plenum. Some things you have to tune for.
Right.
Other things, the car will self-adapt to it, like an intake.
Right.
I mean, you really can't tune for an intake.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
At least on these cars. Like, I don't know how it works with the American cars.
American cars, you do intake. On
a Hellcat, I mean, it picks up like 50 horse.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
you could literally tune a Hellcat with an intake and pick up about 40, 50.
Exactly. So, I mean, on these cars, it's a little different. Yes, we could push it a little bit more, and maybe, like, you get more airflow in there, but the car will self-adapt to more air coming into the motor. You know what I'm saying?
So what happens when the car does have those things, though, and you tune on top of it?
Well,
is there a difference?
Yeah, so, I mean, the car is going to pick up more power, for sure. Is it going to be something huge? No. Like an intake? An intake you might pick up 5, 10 horsepower.
In these cars?
Right. On a plenum, probably a little bit more, like maybe like 10, 15.
IPD claims 30.
Right, yeah, so 30 crank.
They claim 30 wheels.
Yeah, that's a. And on Porsche,
I picked up on a 60 to 130. I picked up about 0.2,
which is very impressive.
From a plenum alone.
Right, and like this is one of the cars that has a plenum. Most of these cars don't.
Yeah, Porsches have that.
They have the plenums, exactly. So, but yeah, I mean, in most cases, on even on the BMWs, you do intakes. You don't tune for the intake. The car will naturally adapt.
Right.
And it'll basically fix your air forwards based on how much air is coming into the motor.
Well, we got it done, man. The car is ready to go. So I'm going to leave you now. I'm going to go do some testing.
Got it. Report back.
Let's see the results. I'm going to report back.
I know you.
Get ready for all the tags. As a matter of fact, we might go to Mexico tonight.
No problem.
I don't know. We'll see.
That would be good.
And that would be good, right?
Awesome,
Get it tuned in the morning, Mexico at night.
Excellent.
Appreciate you, bro. DME is going to be at all the airport events. So if you guys got more questions and stuff, you'll have a chance to ask them in person there. All right, y'all? So let's go driving. All right, guys, so new day. Left DME Tuning and then just tested the car. He said drive with the car for about 2 days, see how it feels a day and a half. So what I did was last night I found myself in Mexico. That video is coming tomorrow, the full video of going to Mexico. I do have some immediate results, but before I show you results, I want to talk to you about the drivability of the car. Man, oh man. When I put in the piggyback unit from chip work, power there, but it was just inconsistent. Like it would be there most of the time and then sometimes it wouldn't be. Like it was just kind of, that feeling of not always being there was a little, you know, disheartening. And then in addition to that, because of what it's doing, it would cause sometimes surging. Like I'll be trying to accelerate just slowly, and it'll like push forward. Like the turbos would spool more than they should during normal driving, and it will cause like a surge. All of those things combined made the drivability not factory or not stock. A lot of times people can put up with this because they're not using the car like on a daily basis, or they just want the power and they don't want to pay the full price. Because let's keep it 100. This DME tune for this car retails at about $1,500, right? So anywhere from $1,200 to $1,500, depending on what retailer you talk to, is what it goes for. And this Piggyback unit retails for $600. Huge difference between the two. $600 versus best case scenario $1,200, literally double. But let me tell you now, driving this car for the last day and a half, and I put some miles on it. I think I put like 100 miles on it in the last day and a half, just to try to get the ECU to learn and make sure it was in its max performance. And man, I could tell you guys, I forgot how nice the Panamera drives in terms of its drivability, man. It is so smooth and nice. And the power delivery is smooth, like the way it comes on. It went right back to those factory elements and how that car feels, except for when you push it and you feel this big tidal wave of boost come on. From factory, those cars usually around 11 pounds of boost, and I was seeing 15 pounds of boost. So it seems like the tune added about 4 PSI on 93 octane. From what I hear though, I could add race gas and the computer will notice it, recognize it, and change the parameters accordingly. So we're gonna try that in a future video. I guess the question now comes up, now that you know all that you know from watching this Tech Review Tuesday between Piggyback tuners and full ECU tune, and which way is the best to go, or what I would choose. Drum roll, please. For me, guys, it's gonna be the full ECU tune. Because when you have cars like these that are expensive and stuff like that, you don't want to sacrifice or give up anything. You know what I mean? You want to keep all the luxury elements, all the engineering elements that they did to have best of both worlds of luxury and performance. You want to keep that. You might be different. You might be the type of person where you just want the all-out performance and you want it on a budget. Man, I could say that Piggyback probably added about the same amount of boost, because usually it would show about 11, and then what is fueling the system, tricking the system to do is show less boost. So my gauge was showing somewhere around like 6 pounds, 7 pounds, 8 pounds, somewhere. So it was probably adding about 3 to 4 pounds with the Piggyback as well. Now the question is the car faster, right? That's the biggest question, because we're talking about now, you know, a $600 unit versus best case scenario $1,200 ECU tune. Here are the results. I did about 4 runs, which you're gonna see here. One of those runs is a race between a GTR full bolt-on E85, and it seems like my Porsche knew that it was up against some stiff competition because it's also the fastest run. But check out the first 2 runs. That one was a 9.5 run, first run. Let's see if we can keep chomping down at it. And now we're down to, I don't know if y'all can see it, let's see, 9.2. 9.2. We're getting faster, guys. So those first 2 runs that I did were actually when I first got the ECU tuned, and I took it away, you know, and I tried it that same night, like later that night. Didn't put much miles on the car. DME told me that there's a learning process that the ECU has to go through. So the first run, 60 to 130, 9.5. That's kind of what the Piggyback unit was running. The Piggyback unit was running between 9.3 and 9.5 depending on conditions. So check out a little bit later though, like a little bit later. This right here was my best run of the night. And look how fast it got done. Going up against this full bolt-on E85 Nissan GTR. Check it out. You ready? Oh, first time ever, baby. First time ever. Hold on, let me see if I can get it. Come on, focus, focus. 8.9, baby. First time ever. 8.9, 8.9. So, no, I did not win that race, but I shouldn't win that race. All in all, this car should probably be making about 520 to the wheels. And that GTR is on E85 should be making about anywhere between 630 to 650 to the wheels. Yes, I was supposed to lose that race, but I did not lose by very much, which shows you how fast this car is. Y'all saw me run up against when I ran up against a stock GTR and I destroyed it. For those that thought that that race was a fluke, if you see how close I am to a 630 wheel horsepower GTR, then that race makes a lot more sense, right? But anyway, 8.9, y'all. I was so excited. To keep things in perspective, stock Hellcats run about 9.2, somewhere around there. So right now I'm faster than a stock Hellcat. But, you know, I don't know if that's something to brag about. I guess it's something to brag about. 8.9, guys. I'm officially in the 8s. Now, in a later video, I'm going to put race gas and I'm going to do these testing again. And from what I hear, I should be able to get it down to about 8.7. So I ran it again after that and I did a 9.0 as you see it right here. I was saying that it's just consistent, and it is. And that's the benefit of ECU tuning. It's going to run as the factory car would. It's going to be more consistent. It's going to deliver that power every single time. And that's why that's going to be my choice. So this wraps up today's Tech Review Tuesday. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for coming. Make sure you like and subscribe, share. It's your boy Stefan here from Mod2Fame. And until the next one, which will probably be in about a day and a half, 2 days from now, we out. We out.